all, I'm Jamie Lynn Sigler, a mom, actor, and advocate. I know how overwhelming it can be trying to decide which treatment is right for you. I've been there. But you should know you're not alone. You can do this. Start with some research, talk to the community, and most importantly, don't be afraid to ask your doctor questions. You might find results that speak for themselves. That's how I landed on Kesimpta. Ask your doctor if Kesimpta, ofatumumab, could be right for you. You can check out the details at kesimpta.com.
This is the FPL Draft Zone, your fantasy team's best signing of the season.
With just 6 days before the start of the season, it is time for us to reveal our top 20 picks for your draft night. Who should you be signing to give yourselves the best chance of a successful season? Hello and welcome to the FPL Draft Zone, a podcast all about Draft FPL. I am Dom Crofts. I hope you are well. And today we are talking priority picks in draft. We've got the top 20 picks for you based on a load of factors, which we will explain as we go. Before we get into it though, please don't forget to subscribe to this pod so you never miss an episode. And of course, as we always say, yes, it's getting tedious now, it would also be brilliant if you could give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or some nice words in that on Spotify or whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. You can also get in touch with us on social media. We're on X and Instagram at FPL Draft Zone, and we're also on Blue Sky, where our handle is at FPLDraftZone.bsky.social. But here we go. It is now time to work our way through the top 20 picks for draft night, and we're going to make our way from 20 to 1. So we'll start with our 20th pick, which is Yoane Wissa, currently of Brentford. And he is the first of quite a few forwards who are going to be in our top 20 this year. And that is because, having done a fair few mock drafts already and now one seriously serious draft, if you sleep on your strikers in those early rounds, you are screwed. There are some amazing midfielders you can get in those first 2 rounds on draft night, but if that is the route you decide to take, your front line is going to look a little bit average. So that increased value in forwards means that naturally there are more forwards in our top 20 than you might otherwise expect. And Wissa sneaks in despite there being question marks over his future. He has made it clear he wants to leave Brentford. He has been linked with Newcastle and Spurs. And there is, of course, the slight risk that someone whose future is unclear could see them leaving the Premier League altogether. But if he stays, you would expect him to have another strong season. Last year, he got 18 goals and 6 assists, and he didn't do too badly the season before either, when he got 12 goals and 4 assists. If he does move and you do draft him, you're probably looking at somewhere between those totals to be happy with your move. But I think if he does stick around, he should be getting around 15 Premier League goals, and that for me justifies a top 20 pick. He'll also be playing in a better team with more creativity around him, and that should also bode well for his return potential. In at 19, we have Wissa's former teammate at Brentford, Bryan Mbeumo, who has swapped the Bees for his boyhood club, Manchester United. Last season was Mbeumo's best season in the top flight by a country mile. He finished as the second highest point scorer in FPL after getting 20 goals and 9 assists. He outperformed his XGI by 7, but 5 of his goals were penalties, which he is not going to get off Bruno Fernandes at United. However, if you drafted him in the second round and he had another 15-goal season from midfield, you would be very happy indeed. He's likely to be playing as one of 2 attacking number 10s at United behind their imminent striker Benjamin Sesko. There is a chance he will be utilised on occasion at right wing-back, which would of course lessen his value considerably, but I do think Amad Diallo's form should guarantee him that place. And I would expect Mbeumo to have a big impact at Manchester United. He'll be playing around better players. Ruben Amorim has had a full pre-season to prepare his troops. And I would expect Manchester United to be a better team this season, with the likes of Bruno, Cunha and Mbeumo all enjoying strong campaigns. So he is our pick for number 19. Number 18, well, that goes to Bournemouth striker Evan Nielsen. He had A decent first season in the Premier League, I think it's fair to say. He scored 10 goals, he got 5 assists, and that was from the equivalent of just 25 games worth of minutes. He underperformed his XG by 2.5 goals, but he made up for that by overperforming his XA by more than 3. He did miss a good chunk of the season through injury, and he missed the opening game of the season as well because he hadn't signed for Bournemouth in time. And he makes our top 20 because of the position he plays and the importance of getting in those forwards within those first 2 rounds. Now, we're ranking him higher than the likes of Yoane Wissa and also the likes of Kai Havertz, who faces a fight for his place now Arsenal have signed Victor Gyökeres. And Wissa's future is, of course, unclear, and he may take time to settle at whatever club he ends up at. Meanwhile, Evan Nielsen is a guaranteed starter in a team that are a good side, that do offer quite a lot of attacking threat. He is settled. They have lost a lot of their defensive stability. They have a new goalkeeper. They've lost Howson. They look like they're going to lose Zabani any day now. And they've lost Kierkegaard as well. But if anything, I think that means that Iraola will lean into his side's attacking qualities. And that should see Evan Nielsen profit. In his final season in Portugal, Evan Nielsen got 25 goals. And across his time with Porto, he got an attacking return every 1.9 matches. And more often than not, players who come into the Premier League from abroad do tend to have a better second season than their first. So I would expect Evan Nielsen to greatly improve on that tally of 10 goals, 5 assists, and 128 points. And I think he is a solid pick to fill one of those forward slots in round 2. Pick number 17 is another striker, and he is tall, and he is from New Zealand, and his name is Christopher Wood. Forest's form was not that good at the end of last season, and they have the added complication of European football this year as well. But Wood is a safe pair of hands. He was prolific last year, but he has actually been a solid performer for some time in the top flight now. He's hit double figures for goals in 6 different Premier League seasons. He is tailor-made for the way that Nuno sets up his Forest side. He got 20 goals from an XG of just under 14 last year. I would expect him to be getting around 15 or 16 goals this season, and you cannot overlook a forward who hits those sorts of numbers. Forest's start to the season is also very kind, so he could easily make a big impact on your draft side from the get-go and set you up for a good campaign. And sometimes it's sensible to just go with the old, tried and trusted hitman. Wood is not glamorous, he is not sexy. In many ways, drafting him is like drafting a massive tree and sticking it up front. But you know what? Chris Wood just works, and that's why he is our 17th pick. Next up is Hugo Ekitike, and this is very much a player who will lose value if Alexander Isak signs, but right now he is set to start the season as Liverpool's starting centre-forward, and that is not to be sniffed at. Liverpool have already transformed their attack this season with the signing of Ekitike and Wirtz, and they are adding those players to a front line that already managed to score 86 goals last year, 14 more than any other side. They are a front-footed side, they have pace to burn, and if Ekitike gets the nod as their main centre-forward, he will be involved in a lot of goals. 22 goals in 48 games last season, 15 in 33 in the league, so just under 1 every 2 games, and that was playing in a team that, let's face it, is not considered one of the elite sides in Germany. He is now playing for the best club in England right now, the champions of England, and he is going to be playing alongside the sort of creative talents who should make his life easier than ever. So if he can settle in quickly, he should be a solid bit of business for your draft team and for Liverpool. And even if Isak does sign, Isak has got a bit of a sketchy injury history, and if Liverpool are going to be playing 3 games a week, I think Ekitike will get plenty of minutes up front and plenty of opportunities to rack up those FPL points. In at number 15 is Morgan Rogers, who is going to be an integral part of an Aston Villa side who will be looking to get back into the Champions League. He and Ollie Watkins will be key to their hopes, and Rogers will be looking to continue on his upwards trajectory. His form last year saw him make his first appearances for his country, and in a World Cup year, he'll be determined to showcase his talents to Thomas Tuchel. His output last year was excellent as well, 8 goals and 11 assists, and that was despite him having to shift around the side to accommodate the likes of Asensio and Rashford. This year, neither of them are at the club, and Rogers should be playing much more centrally and much higher up week in, week out. He's had an excellent pre-season. Villa have a very good start to the season as well. He's scored a couple of goals. He's looked sharp. And when it comes to attack-minded midfielders with goals in their game, there aren't many better than him. Pick number 14 is Cunha, who has swapped Wolves for Manchester United this season. He has been playing as a number 10 in pre-season, and he has looked very lively indeed, linking up well with Bruno Fernandes, and he was unlucky not to score in United's recent game with Everton. He is an output monster. He massively overperforms season in, season out. In fact, across the last 2 seasons, he has had a total expected goal involvement of 26.48, and yet he has delivered 41 attacking returns. So an overperformance of nearly 14. He did that in a Wolves side that are not very good. And it was a side in which he was, of course, their main man. So you obviously need to weigh up whether you think going to a better team with better players is going to make him a better prospect, or if it means his output could get reduced with other players taking responsibility for goals and assists around him. I've already said I fancy United to have a real upswing in form this year. I think Ruben Amorim is going to get them playing well, and I think Cunha will be a key part of that. And if he delivers around the same number of returns as he has in his previous 2 campaigns, he is going to be an outstanding midfield pickup. In at 13 is Spurs striker Big Dom Solanke. Solanke goes into the season with an injury. He's not been a part of Spurs' recent friendlies, and he also had his fair share of injury problems last year as well. If he hadn't, and if he didn't have his current issues, he may well have been a couple of places higher in our list. But for right now, he'll have to make do with this position. Spurs fans will be hoping they see Solanke shining like he did in his final season at Bournemouth, when he got 19 goals and 3 assists. And that has been his one standout season throughout his top flight career so far. Last season, he got just 9 goals and 5 assists, but when you dig a bit deeper, the big difference was down to his minutes on the pitch, because in his final year at Bournemouth, he played a massive 3,325 minutes, which works out at the equivalent of nearly 37 games, whereas last season he managed just 2,199 minutes, which is the equivalent of 24 games. 19 goals and 3 assists in 37 games is an attacking return every 0.59 matches, which is obviously nice. But 9 goals and 5 assists in 24 games is almost the exact same rate, 0.58 attacking returns every match. So if he can stay fit for the full season, you can assume Spurs are going to improve, and you can assume that Solanke's numbers should hit around the same number as he got in his final season at Bournemouth. And if Thomas Frank does with Solanke what he's already done for Ivan Toney and Johan Visser, I think Big Dom could have an outstanding season and quite possibly his most prolific campaign ever. Our 12th pick is João Pedro, who has already made a big old impact at his new club Chelsea. He scored in the Club World Cup final against PSG. He's developing what looks like a pretty good partnership with Cole Palmer as well. Pedro had his best season ever last year at Brighton, and yet he still only managed 10 goals and 5 assists. So it could be argued that ranking him as high as this is a bit of a surprise. But Pedro has improved season on season in terms of his numbers since he's come into the Premier League, and he has now taken a massive step up by joining a Champions League club, and a club who are expected to challenge for the Premier League this year. And for me, in my opinion, he's the sort of player who should thrive under that pressure. He is the sort of player who could easily go to another level now that he's got better players around him. And I think his versatility as well means that he should be a regular week in, week out throughout the season for Chelsea, despite all that fierce competition for places in their front line. Their start to the season is decent. Pedro has been waiting for his chance to play for a top club, and now he's got that chance. I think he's going to really step it up, and I think he's going to go on to become one of the elite forwards in the Premier League. So that is why he is pick number 12. Our 11th pick is Florian Wirtz of Liverpool. The German international arrives off the back of 2 outrageous seasons with Bayer Leverkusen. He's cost the club £116 million, and they will expect an instant return on that investment. He's looked good in pre-season. He can play all over the front line. He's already had a go at a false nine position in a Liverpool shirt, and he looks like he's going to be across a lot of their set pieces as well. He is one of only 2 players across Europe's top leagues to have got double figures for goals and assists over the past 2 seasons, the other being Mo Salah, and he's moving to a team that should platform him and give him the chance to show what he can do. He's going to be surrounding himself with better players. He's had 69 attacking returns over the course of the last 2 campaigns, and he is going to be starting week in, week out for a much better team than Bayer Leverkusen. So I would expect him to be one of those rare things in FPL, which is a player coming from abroad to the Premier League who smashes it in his first season. So that's why he is ranked 11th on our list.
Getting ready to step into your career era? Set yourself apart with Adobe Creative Cloud Pro for students. Hone your skills with apps like Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, and more, powered with the latest in creative AI. Students save over 55%, so you can build a portfolio you're proud of. Launch your future with Adobe Creative Cloud Pro for students. Visit adobe.com/students to learn more.
Hey all, I'm Jamie Lynn Sigler, a mom, actor, and advocate. I know how overwhelming it can be trying to decide which treatment is right for you. I've been there. But you should know you're not alone. You can do this. Start with some research, talk to the community, and most importantly, don't be afraid to ask your doctor questions. You might find results that speak for themselves. That's how I landed on Kesimpta. Ask your doctor if Kesimpta, ofatumumab, could be right for you. You can check out the details at kesimpta.com.
Into the top 10 we go then. And in at number 10 is Jean-Philippe Mateta of Crystal Palace, who I am very high on. Mateta's form over the last 2 seasons has been excellent, and when you consider that the likes of Manchester United and Newcastle have been actively on the hunt for a forward, I am amazed his name has not been in the mix. Last year, he got 14 goals and 2 assists in the equivalent of 29 games. The season before, it was 16 goals and 7 assists in the equivalent of 25 games. He obviously missed a big portion of last season after suffering that horrible injury against Millwall in the FA Cup. But under Oliver Glasner, he has become this key figure in Crystal Palace's improvement. And of all the strikers we've already mentioned, I think he represents the best chance of having the most prolific campaign. He's playing in a settled side, he's working under a manager who knows how to get the best out of him, and I think Palace will really kick on this season. They're in Europe, they've been dealt a bit of a blow with the whole Conference Europa League shenanigans, which I'm sure will give them an extra incentive to prove a point this season. Their form last year was exceptional at times after that slow start, and they are defensively solid with a fair bit of creativity and attacking talent in their ranks as well. And Mateta is at the spearhead of that. So I think he will go early on in draft night, and if he is still available when my turn comes around, he will very much be in my thoughts. In at number 9 is Victor Gyökeres, the new Arsenal forward, whose record at Sporting Lisbon has made him the most prolific striker in Europe over the last 2 seasons. There has been a lot of talk about whether he can take that sort of form and replicate it in England, and there are a lot of doubters out there, but he seems supremely confident in his own ability, and he is playing for a side that have made solid strikers out of Mikel Merino and Kai Havertz, neither of whom were signed by the club to play as a centre forward. Merino had never played up front before last season, and yet by the end of the season he was doing a pretty good job, all things considered, and Havertz has been getting an attacking return every 2 games since joining Arsenal on average. So if you take those 2 players out of that centre-forward role, and then you put in a player who appears to be a ruthless goal-scoring machine, then surely you would expect Gyökeres to have a major impact at his new club. This is a man who in the last 2 seasons, across all competitions, has got 125 attacking returns in 102 games, and 97 of those 125 attacking returns were goals. I have seen some critics of the Portuguese league say you can expect him to score around 60% of what he got there in England, but his numbers are so insane that 60% of his goal tally last season would still see him score 32 goals for Arsenal. So even though we don't know if he can replicate his form of the last 2 seasons over here, you have to assume he's not going to fall completely off a cliff in terms of his goal scoring. And when you factor in Arsenal's previous forwards and how the system Mikel Arteta plays seems to bring the best out of forwards, I am backing Gyökeres to make a big difference to Arsenal's attack this year. Number 8 is West Ham striker Jarrod Bowen, who until now has been classified as a midfielder in FPL, but this season he is a forward, and he is someone with proper FPL pedigree. 23 attacking returns last year, including 13 goals, 16 goals and 6 assists the season before that, and 4 seasons ago he had his best ever season for the Hammers, getting 29 attacking returns. He finished last season as one of the form players in the division. He got 4 goals in his final 4 games and 6 goals in his final 8 games, and he has been really good in pre-season as well. Graham Potter seems to be slowly getting West Ham into a decent side. He seems to be getting the best out of his star man as well, and with the addition of El Hadji Malik Diouf as a super attack-minded left-back, and now with Lucas Paqueta free from the threat of a ban, maybe, just maybe, West Ham will surprise a few this season, and even if they don't, there is no safer pair of feet in the Premier League for FPL points than Jarrod Bowen, who is a guarantee of 20 attacking returns every single season. Pick number 7 is Bruno Fernandes, who, like Bowen, is the ultimate safe pick in FPL. You know what you're going to get. Even when Manchester United are battling to avoid a relegation battle, he still puts up brilliant numbers. Last year, he ended the campaign with 174 points, scoring 8 goals and bagging 12 assists. He would have earned an extra 18 points had defensive contributions counted as well, which would have taken his tally to 192 points. And let's not forget, this was in a terrible, terrible season for a terrible, terrible team. This year, Manchester United cannot be as bad as they were. They've invested heavily in their attack. They should be a far greater threat to their opponents than they were last season. Amorim has had a whole pre-season to integrate his philosophy. They've looked good in friendlies, and the star performer throughout all of this has, of course, been Bruno. He scored twice against West Ham recently. He got a goal and an assist against Everton. He is on set pieces. He is on penalties. He has been predominantly playing as one of the front 3. Amorim has said it's important he does play closer to goal. I mean, what is not to like about Bruno Fernandes as a draft asset? Get him in and he will deliver, and that's why he is our 7th pick. Number 6 is Ollie Watkins, who is another player you know exactly what you're going to get from him, and that is goals, and quite a lot of the time, assists as well. Watkins has been linked with a host of clubs this summer, but right now he is still at Aston Villa, and that is at a club that he has absolutely excelled at, particularly since Unai Emery has taken charge. 16 goals and 8 assists last season, 19 goals and 18 assists the season before that, and 15 goals and 8 assists the season before that. He has hit double figures for goals in every single season he's played in the Premier League. He no longer has Marcus Rashford breathing down his neck at Villa. He's been excellent in pre-season. And when you look at the lack of forwards in the game, if you can get someone like an Ollie Watkins in that first round, you are setting yourself up for a strong season. Villa also have a very good start to the season in terms of fixtures, so you can lay a marker down in your draft league with someone like Watkins in your side, earning you the points you need to get off to a winning start in those opening game weeks. Pick 5 was very nearly Watkins, but in fact it's gone to Alexander Isak. He just edges it despite his future being unknown. It certainly looks like his future will be somewhere other than Newcastle. It's starting to look like it will definitely be at Liverpool, but wherever he goes, you can expect 20 goals or more from the Swede. Last year was his best ever season in England. He got 23 goals and 6 assists. It bettered his previous best tally of 21 goals and 4 assists from the season before. And last year, he also seemed to overcome some of those injury concerns that have haunted him in previous years. One thing, of course, to keep in mind in that regard is the fact that he wasn't playing 3 games a week last season because Newcastle were not in Europe. And whether he stays or goes, he will be playing that number of games this season. So that is something to keep in mind. But his potential ceiling in a side like Liverpool is so high. it is hard not to see him improving on those goal tallies again and hitting 25 plus goals in the Premier League. Our fourth pick is Bukayo Saka, who was on course for a very special season last year before his injury. All the stats were pointing to him having his best ever year. He had more successful dribbles per 90 than ever before, more touches inside the opposition box, more shots from inside the area as well, and no player created more chances per 90 than him in the Premier League. So if he can stay fit this season, I would expect him to reach new heights again this year. He has more attacking talent around him now, which can only help. He's across corners from that right-hand side. He's on penalties until we hear otherwise. And he is, of course, a player who is capable of producing something out of nothing. And if Arsenal are going to challenge for the title this season, his form is going to have to be on point. And I think it will be. So Saka is our fourth pick. Our third pick is Cole Palmer, who edges Saka out because he has outscored and out-assisted him in both of his first two seasons at Chelsea. Last year, he went completely off the boil after January and yet still finished the season with 15 goals and 10 assists. The season before was even better. He scored 22 goals and got 13 assists. He is on penalties. He is Chelsea's chief creator, and he is actually a massively underrated finisher as well. Chelsea have a generous start to the season. He already seems to have struck up a decent partnership with João Pedro. He will be their talisman despite all the new faces that have come into that club. And I would expect him to be edging a little closer to those 2023-24 numbers in terms of goals and assists than last year's tally. So that is why he just pips Bukayo Saka for the bronze medal and the third pick. So then we come to the final two. It was always going to be these two, wasn't it? But in what order? Well, for us, the second pick, drumroll, tension bed, is Mohamed Salah, which may be a bit controversial, but there are plenty of reasons why. First and foremost, he is likely to miss a decent chunk of the season because of his AFCON commitments, which naturally is going to impact his points total. Secondly, he is in a new look front line that may take some time to gel and may impact his numbers. Thirdly, with so much attacking talent now at the club and with Alexander Isak likely to join as well, those attacking returns are more likely than ever to be shared about. And then, of course, we have the fact that Mohamed Salah massively outperformed his XGI last season to such an extent that I do not think he can do that again. He got 5 more goals than his XG tells us he should have got, but it's actually in terms of his assists where he really overperformed. He finished the season with 18 assists from an XA, an expected assist, of just 8.99, and I cannot see that level of overperformance being sustainable this season. There has to be a drop-off there. So Salah just misses out on top spot for all those reasons. Of course, he would still be an incredible player to draft. Of course, he will still get you boatloads of points as the season goes on. But our number one pick is not him, it is Erling Haaland. First up, because I've done multiple mock drafts now, and if you are in a 10-team league or larger and you do not take a forward in the first round, you do face a bit of an uphill battle to get one of significant quality by the time your second or third pick comes around, and there is no better forward in the game than Erling Haaland. Last season was an off-season for him and for Manchester City, and yet they still finished as the league's second highest goal scorers, and Haaland top scored with 22 goals. That was Haaland's third season in the country. It was his worst season by some distance as well, but if he gets back to something like his best season, you can expect around a 30-plus goal return for him. He got 27 goals the season before last, and then in his first season, let's not forget what sort of level he was producing. He ended up with 36 goals. Manchester City are going to be hungry to reclaim their title after the disappointment of last season. They've invested heavily throughout January and the summer. Pep is not going to take losing lying down. He has never, ever gone 2 seasons without winning a title. And Haaland has now got all sorts of creativity around him. Cherki, Foden, Savinho, Doku, Marmoush, loads of different options, and even though there is now no longer Kevin De Bruyne supplying those final passes, it could be argued that he's not been around often enough for the past 2 seasons to make much of an impact anyway. So if I am lucky enough to get first pick this season in any of my draft leagues, I am going to be taking Erling Haaland first. And hopefully, I will not regret it. So those are our top 20 rankings for this season's draft. A few controversial ones in there maybe, but that's where we're at with our picks. Let us know who should be higher. Let us know who should be lower. Let us know of any star assets who we've missed out altogether. You can get in touch with us on X and Instagram, where our handle is @FPL Draft Zone. We are on Blue Sky at fpldraftzone.bsky.social. You can even drop us a good old school email as well. fpldraftzone@outlook.com. We try to reply to everyone who gets in touch, and it would of course be lovely to hear from you. But that is it for today's show. We will be back very soon indeed as the season edges ever closer. But until next time, it is bye for now.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Bubba Wallace here with Tyler Reddick. You know what's more nerve-wracking than waiting for qualifying results?
Waiting for the green flag to drop.
Instead of pacing, you rev up with Chumba Casino's weekly new releases.
It's like a fresh set of tires for your brain.
Play for free at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See T&Cs. 21 plus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.